All right, we're getting down to the end here. We have just a few lessons left this year. This is lesson 14, and it's a continuation of emotions from lesson 13. For this full classroom lesson, you're going to need your root card, the materials you've chosen to complete your vocab strategy, and your classical roots book so you can follow along on page 86. You may decide to choose up or to switch up your vocab strategy this time around. If you've been doing note cards or vocab connections, maybe you want to try some visuals or some pyramids just to change things up a little bit. You don't have too many opportunities to do this because we only have 2 lessons after this, if you can believe it. There are 4 roots in this lesson, and there are 9 total words. The first root is dolio, and it means to grieve. And if you don't know what grieving is, it is kind of expressing sadness. Make sure you add this to your root card. We have 2 words that use dolio as a root, and the first one is condole. Condole is a verb, and it means to express sympathy. Oftentimes, condole is followed by the word with. So you'd say condoling with someone. So if you see the word with and you're trying to fill in the blanks, that might be a good hint that condole is the word for that one. The sentence on the screen is a good example of this. It says, after the service, the students went over to condole with their friend. The sentence in the book reads, the house was full of neighbors who had to come to condole with the grieving family. And in case you're unclear, when you express sympathy, you're kind of showing someone comfort, you're showing them that you feel for them. Don't forget to add this to the vocab strategy that you've chosen. We'll go ahead and move on to the second word, which is doleful. Doleful is an adjective, it's a describing word, and it means mournful or sad. So it's a synonym for sad. The sentence on your screen reads, I was very doleful after my dog was put to sleep. If you look in your workbook, it says, I knew by the team's doleful expressions that they had lost the championship. This would be a great word to keep in your mental word bank for your own writing. If you're ever looking for a more descriptive or interesting word to replace sad, doleful would be a great option. So make sure you add this to your strategy, and if you need to pause the video before we move on here, please do. But we're already on to our second root, which is ira, and it means anger. Again, continuing with the pattern of emotions. We have 3 words that use ira as a root. The first is irascible. Irascible is an adjective to describe someone who's irritable or hot-tempered. And irritable is someone who's kind of easily agitated or easily annoyed. And then hot-tempered is someone who has a big temper. Gordon Ramsay is known for his irascible personality and temper on Hell's Kitchen, which is a TV show where he basically criticizes people's cooking. And the sentence in your book reads, although a kindly man, Dr. Samuel Johnson grew irascible on the subject of how wealthy patrons neglect writers. And again, this is an adjective or a describing word. Now you'll notice this next word that we learn is very, very similar. So I'd make some notes just to remind yourself to really pay attention to the differences here. This is another adjective, and the adjective is irate, which means angry or enraged. So I kind of think of this as like even the next level of anger beyond irascible, whereas irascible was just kind of irritated. Irate is enraged, really, really angry. The sentence on your screen reads, coming to class unprepared is an easy way to make your teacher irate. In your book it reads, when we got home at 2 in the morning, our irate parents were waiting at the door. Similar to doleful, this would be another good word to keep in your memory bank to use in your own writing. It's much more descriptive. It's much more emotional than just the word angry. So it might be a good one to add to your own writing at some point. Now, the 5th total word, the 3rd word for this root, continues with this pattern of anger, and it's, again, very similar to the other 2 words, irascible and irate. So make a note, make sure you know the difference. The word is ire, and it means anger or rage. It's a noun. So whereas both irascible and irate were adjectives, ire is a noun, and it really means like rage. So beware of the ire of the Hulk. It's being used as a noun in that sentence, and it's also being used as a noun in the sentence in your book. Unable to control his ire, Moses smashed the tablets of the law. So to kind of help you with the differentiation here, make sure you know that this one's a noun, and note that if there's no place for it on your vocab strategy. Now we're already moving on to another root. This is the third root in this lesson, and it's volo. It means to wish. There are two words that use this root. The first is malevolent. Malevolent is an adjective, and it means wishing harm to others or malicious or evil. In the book it reads, his malevolent gossip created hurt feelings and division in the class. You could also say that Hitler and the Nazis were especially malevolent to those they deemed inferior. The picture of the man on the screen definitely could be described as malevolent. He looks very evil or malicious. The next word that uses this root is volition. Volition is a noun, and it means a conscious choice, the use of one's will to make a decision. So choosing to participate in bullying is an act of your own volition. It's a conscious choice. It's a decision that you make. The sentence in the book reads, in order to save the life of a friend, Sidney Carton goes to the guillotine of his own volition. So in order to save his friend, he basically makes the decision to give up his own life, and he does that of his own decision making, not anyone else's. We have one more root, two more words in this lesson. Here we go. The next root is zealous. Zealous means zeal, which at this point might not mean too much to you, but zeal is actually our first word that uses this root. Zeal is a noun. It means passion, devotion to a cause, dedication. The young man showed tremendous zeal when facing down the Chinese government. Despite being deaf and blind, Helen Keller's zeal to learn led her to attend Radcliffe College. So it's that passion, devotion, dedication to a cause. We have one final word in this lesson, and the word is zealot. Zealot is a noun. It is a zealous person, a person who has a lot of zeal, a fanatic, someone who's super passionate about something. Peg was clearly a Disney zealot, hoarding hundreds of stuffed animals, as shown in that picture. Zealots for wildlife protection scattered nails in front of logging trucks to protect logging in national forests. This was your last word for this lesson, so you should have 9 total words, 4 total roots. If you look on page 88 and 89 of your workbook, there's a lot of practice that you could go through that I have answer keys for. You could kind of go through and then see if you got them right, just to give yourself a little extra practice. And then on page 90, there are review exercises for both lesson 13 and 14, which would be really helpful as well.